Ball night in the association. Matter of fact, LaMelo Ball is back, taking on that duo. De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama. LaMelo back after missing the last 5 games with an ankle sprain, dealing with Air France. And how about Mr. Fox, the fabulous? It's third quarter. Daquan Jeffries trying to float it over Victor Wembanyama, who doesn't jump, doesn't need to. 10th consecutive double-double. He's got a block in 82 straight games. That's what you do to your kids in the driveway. Later in the quarter, Ball driving, dumping it off. Musa Diabetes, who dunks it on Wemby.
I don't believe that's how it's
kind of went Wilford Brimley on that. Okay, well, Ball finds Diabate, and he listen, Wemby blocks him like insulin and changes to diet, lifestyle.
Okay.
Yep. And then later,
some of it's hereditary.
Some of it, a lot of it actually. 47 seconds to go in the quarter. Chris Paul to De'Aaron Fox, cutting the paint, gets that floater to drop. He's averaging 24.5 per game in his somewhat short Spurs career so far. We're tied at 114. Fox, creating space with the cross. And, all right, 22 points for him, gives the Spurs a 2-point lead. Ball gonna drive to the rim. 7 seconds to go. Hornets are down. Kicking out to Miles Bridges. So open, he's lonely. 25 points for Bridges, none of them bigger than the final 3. It's the latest go-ahead field goal of his career. Hornets take a 1-point lead. Closing seconds. This is a fascinating dynamic for San Antonio. Who takes the final shot? It's De'Aaron Fox, and it goes!
Game.
The winner! He called game. He just didn't do it in time because we got ball in hand. Like Gary after a scratch on a pool table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it anywhere you want on the table.
Well, that's true. Seth Curry knew it. It doesn't count, and that is how the Hornets get a 1-point win over the Spurs. It's always good to get a few minutes with our NBA analyst, David Dennis Jr., with us this morning on SportsCenter. Spurs lose, okay, but this Wemby-Fox duo is going to be fun. What are you seeing from them early on, David?
Yeah, it's not every day that I come on and sing the praises of a team that just lost to the Charlotte Hornets, but I'm going to give it a try. What we saw last night from that Spurs team, yes, it was a slow start. I think Wemby's still getting over that bug that he had, which contributed to that slow start. But that fourth quarter really showed us what we can expect from this team and why De'Aaron Fox got brought on. This dude is one of the best clutch players in the league, and they came in down 11 in the fourth, and he took over while Wemby was cold, shooting 1 for 9 for 3. That is really why you have a guy like Fox, and that's what elevates the ceiling in the playoffs of a team like the Spurs. Beyond that, the pick and roll, they're still figuring that out, and it has been dynamic every time. They just won a game against Atlanta using that pick and roll. They got Wemby to the foul line. Once they figure that out 100%, this team is going to be pretty close to unstoppable.
You think we're not going to have a segment with David Dennis Jr. and talk about the glow up in the background? Like suddenly you're in like a furniture showroom, man. What happened?
Venetian,
There's
maybe?
A piano in the background?
I'm down in New Orleans. I changed the scenery. I'm at my godmother's house. I'm at my aunt's house hanging out. This is her place. Shout out to her for letting me use the space. It's clearly her glow up and not mine.
The Spurs had a glow up, and now David Dennis Jr. does as well. You can watch those two on the Spurs as San Antonio travels to Boston. That's on ESPN. We got more from David in just a moment.
The Thunder, they didn't necessarily need a glow up, yet they got one in the form of a 7'1" runner-up and Rookie of the Year last year, and Chet Holmgren returning. He missed 3 months of the season with a pelvic fracture, but he's back. And this man didn't quite fill up the box score, but he took up a ton of space, and he affected the game in a lot of ways, dishing it off to Isaiah Hartenstein. OKC up 1. We're still in the first here. Back and forth affair against the Raptors. Now they're down 1, and Holmgren. The pelvic area seems to have healed correctly because he's spinning, turning, jumping. 4 points.
Does it seem that way?
5 boards, 4 blocks. Just from my view, from my very distant viewpoint, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you know he's going to get his. Thunder regained the lead. They're up a dozen. SGA on his way to a MVP award, finding Hartenstein again. He had 12 points. Did Isaiah. OKC up 11 at the break. They don't lose at home. Third quarter, Aaron Wiggins coming off a career-high 40-piece just the other night, finding Shai Gilgeous for the triple. 25 points, 6 dimes for SGA. His 19th straight game with 25 or more points. That ties a career best for himself. Got a feeling he's going to break that. Jalen Williams, too strong. Gets the hoop, gets the harm. Also got 27 points on the night. We're into the fourth quarter. It's closing time. Scotty Barnes thought, but Chet Holmgren was like, if you were thinking, you wouldn't have thought that. Thunder go on to win 121-109. They have 33 wins this season by 10 or more points. David Dennis Jr. is back. OKC has been waiting for this moment 4 months. They were already, the 1 seed in the West. Now that they have Chet back, are they the championship favorites in your eyes?
Before we do that, while I was watching the highlight, I feel like I need to make a confession. I said it's my godmother's house, but I call her Nanny. I'm a grown man. I say Nanny. This is Nanny's house that I'm at. By the way, I had to get that off my chest.
We understood.
I'm a grown man that says Nanny. It's okay. So the Thunder. Let's get back to Thunder. The Thunder, this is what Chet Holmgren brings to that team. The concern here that I've had throughout the season without him is that when SGA in the playoffs, when teams really lock down on them, who's going to be that secondary scorer? The other question I've had about that Thunder is that in the paint, they've been kind of dominated by some of these bigger teams. The Cavs did it. The Mavs have done it a lot this season. Chet Holmgren erases both of those problems. The dude is a dynamic second scorer, and also defensively with 4 blocks last night plus 20 on the field. You have him, Hardenstein, Dort, SGA, who is scoring against this team in the regular season or the playoffs. I already had them as being, they were already the best team in the league. Mm-hmm. With Holmgren, they are clear favorites coming out the West.
Fantastic. All right. You said, hey, real quick follow-up, David. Is that one of those couches you're allowed to sit on at Nanny's house behind you, or is that just for decor?
I ain't never sat on that couch. Yeah. You could try to sit on it. I ain't sitting on the couch. It's good for decoration.
Don't think about it. Thank you, Nanny, for giving us an awesome background this morning. And, David, thank you for breaking it down this morning on SportsCenter. Back to the association. The Knicks host the Celtics at Madison Square Garden, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Randy, Boston, they've won 5 of the last 6 games, Randman, against the Knicks, dating back to last season, while the Knicks, they've won 7 of their last 8 games, Randman, overall.
All right, speaking of the Celtics and the Knicks, in those games, Boston shot better than 50% from the field and 40% from three-point range. Unfortunately for New York, though, they allow opponents to shoot 37.8% from distance. That is the worst in the NBA this season. For more on Knicks, Celtics, and the surging Lakers, here's Malika Andrews and the Countdown crew.
2 great games on the ESPN family of networks. Brian Windhorst, let's start with the Lakers and the Pacers. We thought at one point this could be Luka's debut. It looks like that's going to be Monday, but the Lakers have still been on a tear here.
They've won 10 out of 12 games. They're in a nice little stretch where they have a lot of home games here. They can really build some momentum. They're going to get some work and get ready for Mark Williams and Luka to join them next week. The big thing for them has been they've been playing small and getting great defense. That is not something I foresaw from them. But even without Anthony Davis, they've still been able to get defensive stops, and it's led them to go on a real hot streak.
And that's going to be the task when Luka comes back into the lineup. Obviously, he's had some knocks on him defensively, and then Mark Williams as well. Even though he's manning the middle, he is in Charlotte. That hasn't necessarily always been his strong suit. In the evening game, though, gentlemen, that's where you get the battle of 2 titans here in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks and the Boston Celtics. What can we learn in this one, UD?
We're talking about 2 teams who possibly can win. Well, I ain't going to say possibly. These are the teams we're looking at. And you throw Cleveland in there. These are the teams. So this is a game where you want to take personal. You want to set it in the tone. You want to set the tone. You want to set an example. You want to let them know, hey, if we see you in the playoffs, you know what we can do and you know what we're capable of.
I'm looking at the Celtics. They've been playing, kind of playing down to their standards. I think they're just trying to get through the All-Star break. But these are one of those moments as the champion. A team that's trying to come and dethrone you in your conference, you want to make a statement. And that statement is you want to keep doubt that, hey, man, we can't beat those guys in the 7-game series, because that happens, right? Like, you see these teams that's supposed to be a threat to you in the regular season, you want to keep them with having doubt going into the postseason. I think anytime we watch the Celtics and they have this type of matchup, they instantly rise to the occasion, and they have that own switch defensively where they could shut people down.
That's the big key. Both these teams are awesome on offense. The team that plays defense is going to win this game. The team that plays more defense is going to win this series. And the Knicks have been a much better defensive team the second part of the season so far.
That's all goes down this evening. We can't wait. We'll see you on NBA Countdown.
After a dynamic deadline that saw multiple teams trade away their stars, when will we see them in action? Luka expected to make his Lakers debut Monday at home versus the Jazz. One of 3 players with 5 first-team All-NBA selections at 25 years young or younger, along with Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, and KD. Going to be the 5th reigning scoring champion to play for multiple teams in a season. What about AD, the other piece in that blockbuster, expected to make his Mavs debut today 3 Eastern at home against the Rockets. Davis, the only player averaging 25 points, 2 blocks this season. One of 2 players averaging 1 steal and 2 blocks, along with Victor Wembanyama. And Jimmy Butler expected to make his Warriors debut tonight, 8 Eastern, in a city he's once played in, Chicago. This season, he's averaging his fewest points since 2013-14. Come playoff time, he's one of 10 players to have higher career average in points, boards, assists, steals, and blocks in the playoffs, though compared to the regular season. 9 former or current All-Stars were traded this season, including Luka, AD, and Jimmy Butler. Doncic and Davis were both All-NBA teams last season. According to Elias, this is the first time in league history that 2 reigning All-NBA players were traded for each other mid-season. NBA analyst David Dennis Jr. is back on the program. D, Jimmy Butler says he feels like he's back now after this trade gets new life out there in the Bay. What are your realistic expectations for the Warriors now with Jimmy in their lineup?
Look, as long as Jimmy Butler is a Warrior, they're a team that nobody really wants to play in the playoffs. They're going to be a scary team. We've seen what Jimmy Butler can do. Playoff Jimmy can carry a team to the finals. He's not going to have to carry a team with Stephen Curry there, because Stephen Curry can carry a team to the finals. They're going to be scary once you get to the playoffs. Now, the question is, what can all the things that need to go right for them to get to the playoffs, right? Jimmy Butler needs to be healthy. Him and Draymond need to play together. They need to be able to space the floor with some of that lack of shooting. But if you have a lineup, a closing lineup with Steph, whichever shooting guard they have in that lineup, Jimmy Butler, Kuminga, and Draymond, that is a tough lineup that you don't want to face at the end of games, and they will be a team that can take anybody to 6 or 7 games.
Okay. It's going to be some big personalities in those Warriors practices with Draymond and Jimmy, something certainly to pay attention to. What about in Dallas? Anthony Davis scheduled to make his Mavericks debut, 3 Eastern against the Rockets. What's this going to look like in your estimation, this AD and Kyrie dynamic, D?
All right, so ironically, AD and Kyrie is probably going to look a lot like Kyrie and Luka did when they first teamed up. Did you mention, as you know, you may remember, they didn't make the playoffs when they first because it took a little while for them to figure out ball handling, who was going to take the shots and things like that. Now, I don't think this team is going to fare as poorly as that Luka and Kyrie team did, but I do think it's going to take a little time for them to figure this out. Kyrie's not a traditional point guard. He's not a facilitator, the guy that AD kind of needs and kind of plays with. AD is going to be playing with some bigs who do not space the floor out. So this offense is going to need a little bit of work. Defensively, yes, that's why you bring AD. Defensively, they're going to be hard to score on with him and some of those bigs. But offensively, I think that there's going to be a lot of work, and they don't have a lot of time to figure it out this season.
Sure. The Mavericks currently, right now, 8th in the Western Conference's playoff seeding. David Dennis Jr. breaking it down again this morning on SportsCenter.
All right, you talk about playing with guys. What about playing without guys? The Suns are 1-10 without Kevin Durant this season. He's out with an ankle injury, but Devin Booker is going to work. A little mid-range jumper. Gary, what do we say about the mid-range?
Well, listen, it's not mid if you hit.
It's anything but mid. Isaiah Collier missing the layup, but Walker Kessler is there for the putback. Walker, Kessler, Ranger. We're tied at 114 Saturday nights. You all remember watching it growing up, maybe out social lives. Congratulations. There's Booker. Turnaround jumper. Turnaround bright eyes. We're all square at 116. Kessler rebound slamming it home. 19 points for Walker Kessler's best game in a month. But then Collier fade away as the shot clock is expiring. The Jazz go up 4. It's in the fourth quarter. You're like, this thing's a wrap. But then it's Grayson Allen time. Don't let Grayson get hot.
Too late.
We got a 3. Cuts it to 1. The Jazz would make 2 free throws to make it a 3-point game. Less than a second remaining. Long inbound, Grayson Allen.
Everybody loves him, too.
This thing's going to overtime.
He deserves it.
He doesn't look like that guy.
He's got
from
the
Texas.
white walls.
You say it all the time. Allen draining another. You said the white wall. Man, I got the white walls too. He made 7 threes. He had 21 points. My math says all of his scoring came on threes. And then Booker with a man on him. Doesn't matter. 47 points for Devin Booker. His first 40-point game at home this season. Suns win in OT 135-127.
Detroit, what up, though? That's my guy, Troy Rose. Telling me that's how I have to intro every Detroit Pistons highlight. He's Detroit's finest. Cade Cunningham, he's out with a right ankle sprain. It's all good. You know why? Because Detroit's got Malik Beasley, and he was feeling it. Not just there, the entire game. He stayed hot. Detroit, 6th right now in the Eastern Conference, taking on these Sixers who are on the outside looking in. Cade Cunningham, the motorcade, he's loving what he is seeing. Another triple from Malik. Randy calls him Malik the Freak. I don't know if that's going to work.
I said freak.
Okay, yeah. Sar Thompson.
What happened there?
Yeah. Kelly Oubre loses track of the ball here. So the Pistons are going to clean this up easy. They were up 78-49 at halftime. Malik Beasley was getting it every which way from distance. Joel Embiid, he scored on him easy. Joel Embiid, by the way, only had 3 points in the first half. And tempers flaring in that Sixers huddle. They would eventually cool down here and hug it out. The Pistons were up by 19 at this point. The Sixers, man, they're down in a bad way. 3 minutes to go. Pistons up 16. It's Malik again, a career-high 36 points, 9 triples as the Pistons go on to win another big game, 125-112.